The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. And joining me today on the panel are Father Joseph Sund. Hey, Father.
Good to be with you.
Welcome back. We haven't heard your voice in a while, so I'm glad to have you back. And Victor Lambs. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Dom.
Before we get to the show, I want to tell everyone about another show on the StarQuest Network I'm sure you'll enjoy, called, because if you're a techie, you're probably a Trekkie. And so you should be listening to The Secrets of Star Trek that I do with Jimmy Aiken and Father Jason Tyler. And right now we're talking about Star Trek Prodigy, which is an underrated Star Trek series. If you haven't watched it, you should be watching it. It's not just a kid's show. So definitely check that out, and check out The Secrets of Star Trek at sqpn.com/trek or wherever fine podcasts are found.
And let's make season 3 of Prodigy happen.
Yes, let's do that. We don't want to leave it where it is. All right. We do have some feedback from our last episode. Last time we talked about shielding your tech, putting cases on your phone or screen protectors and that sort of thing, or some of us who prefer to go naked with our phones, that is. And so we got some feedback from SG, who writes in, my husband and I both have Urban Armor Gear phone cases on our iPhones because we travel quite a bit, and it's very easy to drop something when you're juggling phones, luggage, and various other things you take with you. Also, we do not have an Apple store nearby to make repairs. The case also works very well with the magnetic charger that I use. I assume she means like the MagSafe charger. The tempered glass screen protector that we use is Gadget Guard. I've cracked my screen protector more than once, and this particular brand will replace it for only $10. In addition, my Apple Watch has a Mixi, M-I-S-X-I, screen protector. I originally tried a couple of other brands, but this one lets the touchscreen work more easily. So that's more than I would do. I've thought about, do I need to get a protector for my watch? Because it's just a big glass thing sitting on my wrist, and I do bang it. I have a tendency to bang it against things because I'm kind of broad-shouldered. But I've never had a scratch on my Apple Watch. Knock on my head. Knock on wood.
So. I'll admit that I don't use screen protectors on my phone. I don't like the feel of them, and it just
that was mine.
I just can't do it.
Yeah, that was mine. Do you guys use cases on your phones?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I use cases and screen protectors. I like I think the Spigen cases, but you have to watch out if you buy them on Amazon, because sometimes they'll send you knockoffs or pirated versions, and so you can usually tell the fakes and stuff. So yeah, but I've used kind of the tempered glass screen protectors, which I like, and then but I've moved away because those keep breaking and stuff, which is good. They're supposed to break, not the phone screen, but just to the kind of plastic film skin thing, and it seems to work pretty well.
Good. So thank you, SG, for your email and feedback. And so just folks who are wondering what other people use, that's a couple of ideas for you. And I agree. Like when you travel, you really, even if I go without a case at home, if I travel, if I'm out in the woods, it needs a case. It really does.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this week, we're having a discussion. Our main topic is going to be on notifications. Your phone, your watch, we get notifications everywhere nowadays. I get it on my TV, my Echo devices, my HomePods, Google Home, all those, everything wants to notify me of stuff all the time. And then there's a thing called notification fatigue, where you get so many notifications, you stop paying attention to them, even when they're important. So how do we manage it? I think part of it is we need to minimize the number of notifications to only the ones that are important. And another aspect also of minimizing notifications is to help us be present with other people when we're like, if you ever go out to dinner with somebody or be in a meeting with somebody and you're talking to them and they're picking up their phone every few seconds or looking at their watch every few seconds because they're getting notifications and they're looking at it. And we do it unconsciously. Some of us do it unconsciously. It's like, oh, what's that? I'm paying attention. I just, turn my phone over to see what it is. So we got to minimize those because these interruptions take us away from others, take us away from our work, interrupt our day, and we're getting more interruptions in our lives than ever. So I think, getting some control over notifications can bring peace of mind to us and make life better, I think. So, so what are the types of things we have to deal with for notifications? Like I said, we have our phones, we have watches, tablets, your computer, smart assistants, smart doorbells, cameras, like, security cameras. All of these things are trying to get our attention. But the place to begin, I think, is to audit your notifications, to make a list. What are all the things that are notifying me? Not just the devices, but the software, the services that are notifying me as well. And for me, the best way to do that is because I'm a Apple guy, so I go open up system settings. There's a notification, a setting, go in there, and it shows all of the notifications on that device. So on the iPhone, on the Mac, on the iPad, and then in the Watch app on the phone, there's also a notifications settings there. So I start with those, and I make a list, and I categorize them, which are essential, which are just important but not essential. Which ones do I not care? Like what? Like I don't care that this app is having a sale on their services or whatever. I hate apps that do that. Send me notifications for that. How about you guys? Like the first step. I mean, the notifications. Are you strict about your notifications? Or are you freewheeling about your notifications? Let's start with that. How about you, Father?
Honestly, I don't pay attention to them too much. Often on my iPhone, I'll clear my notifications, and it will be like 2 weeks worth of notifications because I really don't pay attention to them. I have routines of times I go and check my email, times I check my text messages throughout the day. And so, yeah, I don't like the notifications. The Amazon Echoes try to notify me more than I would ever want to be notified. No matter what I do on settings, they like to notify you about.
Hey, there's this book you might want to buy. Now, be quiet.
Save 3% on this item you looked at once 3 years ago.
Right. There's a new book by this author you once read. How about you, Victor? What is your attitude toward notifications?
I'm also very strict, and I ignore them. I mean, it can be so much noise, and then you just tune it out. You go to your phone, you're like, oh, that's a lot of notifications, and then you just clear them all, because if anything was that important, people would have gotten a hold of you in some way. I mean, at work, it's on my work computer. It's different. Like, we have instant messenger and stuff and email notifications, and those I respond to. But for my personal life, I have, text that will go to my Fitbit, and I'll look at those. But I have even the texts, I have set up different sounds for, the members of my family. So I know if it's a certain sound for my mom or my wife or my kids, those I'll go and look at. And if it's just the normal text sound, I'll ignore it pretty much. But yeah.
For me, I have a hierarchy of notifications. The highest level for me is the watch, because it's literally on my wrist. When there's a notification on my watch, it's the highest level of distraction or interruption. It buzzes my wrist. So I'm most restrictive about what can notify me there. And there are a few things that I want to be notified of there. I turned off Slack notifications on my watch because you all in my Slack are always talking to each other.
Yes, we are.
So I don't need to know every time you guys are talking, try to schedule an episode of, Secrets of Stargate or something. So that doesn't need to be on my watch. But so the next level is the phone. That's the next most restrictive. Then iPad and then Mac. Like I don't really care too much. I care about stuff on my Mac, but I can ignore it easier if you understand what I'm saying there. But even then, I'm pretty restrictive about what I let pop up a notification in the corner of my screen. For example, my email, I don't let it ding when I get an email in. The thing will be dinging all day, but I do use the VIP listing. You can designate certain people's VIP, and when you get an email from them, it'll ding. And there's only a couple people who are in that VIP. I don't even my wife. I don't put her in the VIP because she's down the hall from me. Like if she really needed me for something important, she'd walk down and talk to me. So, or there'd be other ways that she'd get a hold of me. But for example, our CFO here that I work with at StarQuest, Linda, if she's emailing me, that's usually for something important, that I need to know about. So those sorts of VIP messages.
That VIP setting is that just in the Mail app? That's the iPhone Mail app.
Let's see. On the Mac, it's in settings, and I didn't think to look at this ahead of time so if you go under settings and then general on the Mac, under new message notifications, you can set it to VIPs. Now how you set someone as a VIP, you do that in the contacts app. And
that makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a setting in there. I'm pretty sure.
And it looks like you can do it in Outlook too. So I'll have to give that a try.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to look at that because I use Outlook because all of my business stuff is Microsoft 365 or Microsoft 364, if you want a spoiler for a later news story. And so I try to use the Outlook app on my phone, and I kind of miss that VIP setting that I was using on the Mail app. So that's nice to know.
So to make someone a VIP in the Mail on your Mac, you find a message from them, and then you put the cursor next to their name in the message header, and a star will appear, and just click on that, and that will make them into a VIP. So, yep. So, or what I do is click on the address or name, and then my menu pops down, and then there's an add to VIPs in the menu. You can do that too. So that's one way I manage the notifications there. One of the things I do is I think about what do I need to know when? I like to hear from I have a family chat with my brothers and sisters in a WhatsApp channel. I don't need to be receiving notifications of them posting messages in WhatsApp while I'm working. In fact, I don't need most notifications while I'm working. So I have turned that off, but a couple times a day, I know I need to go look at WhatsApp, and, I'll look on my phone and there'll be a number on the badge for the app, that sort of thing. So it's about thinking through, being intentional about your notifications. When an app wants to, when I install a new app and it wants to say, hey, do you want notifications? My bias is against. You need to prove to me you need to notify me. There needs to be a good reason for me to turn that on off the bat. And if I turn it on and you start annoying me with bad notifications, I have a quick trigger on that. So one other thing I do is I use Do Not Disturb mode a lot. And I'm pretty sure you get that on Android too, right, Victor?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, by contact, by time of day, that sort of thing.
Yep. So, so you could customize it to allow, turn on Do Not Disturb and allow only certain people to get through at certain times, or certain apps during certain periods, whether it's your work time or personal time. I use focus modes a lot on mine. I have a focus mode. I've talked about it before. I have a mass focus mode, which means that when I go to church and when I get within a geographic bubble around my parish church, my phone and watch go into theater mode. Essentially, I get a specialized watch screen and a specialized home screen that come up, and on my phone, all my apps go away except for the readings app that I use. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's the readings, prayers of the mass app. iBreviary. Thank you, brain. iBreviary. So that's the only app that shows up on my screen. Everything else goes away. So it keeps me focused and it also means that I'm not going to, like half a dozen other people in mass every week. My phone's not going to ring.
Yeah.
But right, Father. The great thing is every time I go to a new church, whether I'm on vacation or I'm just holy day or whatever, I add that church to the list of churches where it gets activated. So that's been really great. So I really love having that focus mode. I also take advantage of on the scheduled summaries on iOS, and that's a nice feature where you can say, send me notifications, but you only do it at this time. And so you can set up a bunch of different ones. So I have a morning scheduled summary and an evening scheduled summary. So at 9 a.m. it pops up, and these are all the notifications that came in from those apps that you've told to do scheduled summary since the last scheduled summary. And then I do another one at 6 p.m. And that way they don't come in onesie twosies. They're all things I kind of want to just keep an eye on, but I don't need to know of as they come in. So scheduled summaries is great. Another thing to keep in mind is, do you need to be notified of this same thing on every device? And I think that's an important one. It annoys me when my phone dings, then my iPad dings, then my watch dings. All right, I know. You don't have to keep bugging me. How about you guys? I mean, do you feel like I need to know everywhere, or?
No, I mean, I don't have notifications on my home computer at all. The only notification, and I turn off everything on my iPad, because if I'm using my iPad, I'm using it to do focus, work or, creative stuff that I don't want notifications. So really it's just my phone, and then, select text messages hitting my watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad about that. I don't.
So a message comes in and they start ringing a bell.
Everything dings, and it's including, and it's funny when you leave your devices in different locations. That when I was living in multiple rectories, and different devices would be going off 20 miles apart. Today I got a phone call, and it was funny because I listened to my computer, my watch, my phone, and my cell phone and my regular phone all ring together. It's like,
where do I go? My wife has this habit of having 7 or 8, what am I kidding? 30 Facebook tabs open on her browser. And for a long time, I would send her a Facebook message just for fun, because then you hear 30 dings.
Oh, really?
I think they stopped doing that. I think they turned off that, or she got wise and turned it off herself somehow. But just to kind of, she's notorious for the number of browser tabs. Why is my computer so slow? It's always so slow. I wonder why. Apparently there are third-party apps on Android that give you more control over notifications. Is that true? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, there are. I've used apps like that create macros, and you can, basically do anything on your phone based on a notification or any other condition. Reading ahead for this podcast, I did see that there are other ones that are specifically around filtering notifications and, setting up rules. There's one I just downloaded and am trying out called Filter Box. And it basically does. You can set up rules. It says AI filtering, but I mean, who knows what that means these days? But it can give you analytics on, what apps are sending you notifications. It gives you a timeline of when notifications came in, which is kind of cool. But then the filters, you can even set up like webhooks and stuff if you wanted to. Different other kinds of things, like ways to recall notifications after you dismiss them, which is kind of the one frustrating thing, because I'll be like, I don't care about any of these notifications, and then as I clear them and they start disappearing off the screen, I'd be like, oh wait, I may have cared about that one. But this lets you recall your dismissed notifications if you want.
The height of productivity of notifications was back when you had your BlackBerries and you had that BlackBerry hub that kept everything in one location. I know that the app stores have kind of ruined the ability to do that as well. But since BlackBerry disappeared, no one's really mastered notifications as well as they did then. Whether that would translate to now, I don't think so.
Apple has the like messages in the cloud, where your messages are the canonical database of your text messages are in the iCloud, and then all your devices just access it. I would love for that to be that way with notifications. So there's one notification to rule them all, and that's where they live. And if I missed one, because I do the same thing, Victor, I like, oh yeah, what's that? And I don't need that. Oh wait, no, that one under it was the one I needed, and then it's gone though, so I don't know what it was. So and so it would be nice to have access to those somewhere, like a log of them. And it is nice that Android does. I mean, that's one advantage of Android, because it's not as locked down. You do get these apps that can manage notifications and do things with them. On my Mac, I can use like something like Keyboard Maestro to do stuff when a notification pops up, but I can't do that with my phone. So beyond the system settings, you do want to dig into the notifications in individual apps. So for example, so in systems settings, notifications, you can set your, the broad level of, can this thing notify me on the, at all, this app? And what kind of notification? Is it a banner that drops down? Is it a persistent, block? Does it put a badge on the app? Badges bother me. I hate seeing unresolved numbers on apps. I must resolve them. It's I don't know. It's a
first thing I turn off on any new device is the numbers on the apps. It's just not helpful.
Yeah. Well, sometimes. Yeah, go ahead.
Both Dom and Victor, do you, if you have kids that have text message age with their phones, to ask them to see the on-read count on their text messages at high school ages? Horrifying. Horrifying.
I haven't looked at it. Yeah, I probably should. Yeah.
I mean, my inbox usually has like 5,000 or 6,000 unread emails in it or something.
I can't.
I'm an inbox zero guy, and man, that just gives me the heat.
I'm more of a zero inbox guy. Like,
it gives me the heebie-jeebies to have anything in my inbox. I'm kind of. It's funny. I'm not like that in real life with like my environment, but my tech, I really need to be neat and clean. Very Marie Kondo. Just embrace it, be happy for it, and let it go. At least the email. Yeah. Well, so then there's system notifications, but individual apps and even individual services have notifications in them. Like, for example, your social media, your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikToks, all those apps are trying to notify you too. So you need to go into those, or whether it's X or Facebook. Do you get notifications when someone likes your content or comments or DMs or whatever? I mean, one of the first things I did with LinkedIn was turned off all notifications for that, because good Lord, I mean, it wants to notify me and get me to interact, with everything. So, that sort of thing you also need to be aware of, is it's inside the services themselves. Anything else to say about notifications, guys? I think pretty much covers it. I mean, just get rid of the distraction. Be present.
Yeah,
I think.
I found an item you might like on Amazon. That's my last notification.
Yes. Yeah. I was just going to look and see what my last notifications were on my Mac, but nothing interesting. Nothing I care to talk about.
My last notification was that I need to record Secrets of Technology.
Well, there you go. That's probably my most recent one, too. All right. So that does it for notifications this time. Let's, before we move on, take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Technology, including Peter M., Captain Natron, Norlin S., James B., and David B. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Technology and all the shows at StarQuest, and you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. This StarQuest show is also brought to you by Exodus 90 and the Exodus 90 app, a daily companion to help you grow closer to God and to become the man you want to be. This summer, join the Enthronement to the Sacred Heart, the Exodus 90 Summer Book Club, and St. Michael's Lent, beginning August 15th and leading up to the Feast of St. Michael the Archangel on September 29th. Go to exodus90.com/SQPN for a 14-day free trial to the Exodus 90 app and to learn more about St. Michael's Lent. That's exodus90.com/SQPN to join us for St. Michael's Lent starting August 15th. So the big tech news of this week, obviously, was everyone's noticed this one was the CrowdStrike, they've gone from a totally obscure tech company to everybody knows your name, and not in a good way. So CrowdStrike is this big corporate cybersecurity firm. They don't sell security software for people like you and me here at home. They're not home stuff for mom and pops. They sell it to the big guys. And there was a global disruption of Windows computer systems when they pushed out an update to their Falcon sensor software. It's security software to protect against cyber threats. And it caused a defect, or contained a defect, that caused Windows computers to blue screen of death. And it was a bug in the update, and it was a good one because it was a bug that could not be recalled, could not be fixed remotely, couldn't be patched remotely. The only way to fix it is for someone to sit down at the computer screen and do a task of fixing it. So it affected something like I got a number in here somewhere, 8 million, 25 million, millions and millions of computers worldwide. It took down airlines, hospitals. My wife's uncle had to have a procedure postponed because his hospital was affected. Banks, emergency services. In Massachusetts, people still can't get their annual auto inspections done because the computers that connect the local mechanic shops that do the inspections to the Department of Motor Vehicles are affected. Like they're down. So still dealing with that. People are still affected by it. And but it only affected Windows, no Macs, no Linux. So those folks. So what do you guys think about this? What do you think are the lessons that, for people like you and me, like regular folk? Anything that we need to know about this, if we're not working in corporate IT?
I mean, that at any moment they can turn off pretty much everything, and then under the guise of an update that failed, that they just happened to push out on a Friday morning or Thursday night or whenever it was. I mean, that's the real lesson here, is that we're all so dependent upon just a few companies that, if something happens or if they decide to do something, there's really no defense that you or I have. If you're getting stuck at the Atlanta airport for 4 days with your family or whatever, you're not flying. So, have a backup plan for pretty much everything, and not just your technology.
Right.
I would add on that backup plan that this is another reminder to back up.
Yeah.
to back up, to back up, to back up.
Yep.
Not just backing up on the cloud, because the cloud can go down, but that you have a backup on your physical computer, the cloud, and then another physical medium that you can put in an air-gapped location. So like that, I have my backup on a flash drive that's unplugged from the computer and is safe of those most important files.
Right.
And then also the not putting all your eggs in one basket, you know. So let's just hypothetically say that someone only uses one ecosystem. Maybe they only use Mac. Not looking at you, Dom. But if I should have some devices that are going to save me, especially if it's a business thing, from that ecosystem. So, I mean, it wouldn't have hurt for some of those businesses to have even a Chromebook laying around, right? But some of their systems, it wasn't just endpoints that were down. So this was just the perfect storm that it hit both endpoints and servers, and endpoints for layman terms is what your employee's using at his own station.
Right. Yeah. So I think one of the big things is like, yeah, today it was Windows servers and desktops. Tomorrow it could be Apple's iCloud. If Apple's iCloud went down, that would be a world of hurt for every Mac, every Apple user, phone, iPad, Mac. It's if Amazon went down, you don't know how much of the internet runs on Amazon's cloud servers. Google's the same way. If Google went down and we couldn't get our Gmail, everyone I know has a Gmail account. I mean, excepting several of the panelists on this show, but don't try to send me anything on Gmail. I won't see it. Right. But vast numbers of people have Gmail accounts. If Google were to go down, if Gmail were to go down, man, the chaos that would ensue. So it does highlight there's a little bit of vulnerability that we're all kind of living with. There's a great XKCD comic where he kind of shows like a stack of all these shapes, and there's and it's all it's this huge pile, and there's this one little peg in the corner, and he says the pile is all of our digital infrastructure in 2024, and the little peg, he says, is a hobby software project maintained by some guy in Nebraska for the last 30 years. Yeah. And in other words, there are things that our entire digital infrastructure is built on that are dependent on some very, rickety things.
I'd hate to reveal my identity, but no, just kidding.
I knew it was you, Father, maintaining that Linux library. So I guess it's just stuff for us to be aware of. Yeah. Beyond the headlines, beyond the big news. It's just this sort of stuff is going to continue to happen just by the nature of the system that we've built.
There's a lesson that needs to be learned, and I don't know how you and this is more of a global vein, and I'm not a big fan of government regulation things, but every airline industry was using the same provider except one. Southwest wasn't.
Right.
And you get a lot of vulnerability then when an entire industry is relying on one provider. So how do you balance that in a way that still promotes free market and all of that? And so that it's a big question that needs to be asked, that is new ground that technology hasn't entered into before.
From a free market perspective, that is anti-competitive. When the entire industry is using the same tool, I think in a way that is anti-competitive.
Well, I mean, there are alternatives. Our company wasn't affected because we weren't using this, but it does beg the question how this company that very few people have heard of and come out of nowhere, and in just a few years suddenly be, kind of with its roots and tendrils into every, critical infrastructure and service in the country just about. And so I think it bears some scrutiny into the company itself and how that happened and so on and so forth.
Microsoft's dominance in networks has to do with that too. It wasn't in Microsoft Air, but it highly affected Microsoft. And so a lot of these services that were affected were running on Microsoft's cloud environment, which is called Azure. And so that's the common denominator of all these businesses, was not that they were running CrowdStrike so much, but that they were also running Microsoft Azure. And so that stormed together also. Yep. And so it's another thing of like, who are my cloud providers of things as a business? Do I diversify things and not put everything with one company?
Yep. The funny thing is, this went even so far as to affect some Minecraft players. My daughter got blocked out of her Minecraft account for several days because the Microsoft authentication servers were down. But not
the tragedy.
But not my other daughter. Like, my other daughter was fine, and it's kind of weird. I'm not sure why, but it was an odd variable. Well, in any case, CrowdStrike, today, who knows which one, what's tomorrow? We'll see.
Well,
so let's move on to our next headline. And this one comes from, what did this come from? Was
Bloomberg?
It Bloomberg?
I didn't have access to it, but I was able to get the gist of it from AI summaries.
Yeah, archive.ph. I'll have a link in the show notes to the archive. The Internet Archive version of the story. But the headline is, Amazon sold a used diaper. It tanked a mom and pop business. And speaking of being over-reliant on a single point of failure. So this husband and wife started a little mom and pop business a few years ago where making and selling swim diapers for kids, obviously. And I hope so. And then it was going fine. They made $1 million in sales. And then 4 years ago, and they were selling it through Amazon, by the way. So a lot of stuff you buy on Amazon these days is actually they're selling and shipping on behalf of third-party businesses. It's actually a lot of what you buy nowadays is like that. And it's stocked in their warehouse. They handle all fulfillment. They handle all of the returns and the sales and all that sort of stuff. And you just send them the stock and, you reap your benefits. So there was this swim diaper and it got sent out, and the person who received it wrote a 1-star review because it was apparently used. And let me tell you, a used diaper is just nothing you want to deal with. Right, Victor?
Absolutely not.
And so she wrote a 1-star review. It was a used diaper, was sent to me as new. Apparently someone had returned the product to Amazon that they'd bought, and Amazon put it back on the shelf. They're supposed to inspect stuff before putting on the shelf to resell as new, used items to resell as new. Clearly this wasn't done in this case. And then this went out, 1-star review, and it went viral. It's tanked their business. People, didn't want to buy from these people this product, and the couple were trying to use the Amazon process to get the review removed because it was an unfair review. People aren't. Amazon says you're not supposed to be able to review based on condition and packaging and shipping. You're only supposed to be able to review the product itself and how it works as it's advertised. You're not supposed to say, "Oh, the box it came in was dented, and I'll give it a 1-star." That's not supposed to be there. Although you see it all the time. So what do you think? I mean, it seems like this couple put their eggs all in Amazon's basket, and Amazon decided to smash all the eggs. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely an Amazon issue. I mean, there's so many, obviously selling the used diaper in the first place, not addressing the 1-star review. I mean, if it were any other business and the person responsible for your logistics was doing this, you'd be able to take them to court, right? And you'd be able to sue them. You'd be able to find another logistics company that you could work with. However, you can't do that. I don't know why, with all the attention this has gotten, Amazon hasn't responded to it.
They still haven't.
Yeah. And how long has it been?
4 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just weird at this point.
It looks like they got in touch with the person who left the bad review, and they eventually fixed the review in regards to that, or they removed the review themselves. But that was not Amazon acting on it. Amazon never took ownership of. Yeah,
Bloomberg was the one who got in touch with the person who left the original review, and that's the thing. So the irresponsibility of not responding to the process that you've set up. But then there's also just the problem of the process that they don't give their own Amazon doesn't give their own employees enough time, as it comes out in this article, to actually inspect the product. They're supposed to inspect within a minute. You have a minute to open up the return, assess it, and like you're getting thousands of different products. Like Amazon has 1 million different things that they sell. No one can be, an expert in inspecting everything that they come across, and they have a minute to do so. And this is again, like I think with CrowdStrike, it's the problem of systems that are too big to be adequately policed by real people. Amazon is too big to deal with this sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to only give your people a minute to inspect merchandise, you need a process where there's some sort of oops, our bad. We've accepted a certain amount of, risk and we have some money that will address this. So yes, you received a bad product. Here's a $50 Amazon gift card. Terribly sorry, take down your review type thing. So Amazon, and they would still come out ahead because of, just the amount of time they're saving from their employees having to review everything for 2 minutes, for example. But yeah, if you're going to have, if you're going to cut in one area, you need to kind of compensate for it on the other end.
And these companies don't hire enough people to do everything. They've grown bigger than their capacity to do the things that they promised to do. And that's an issue. There's a lot of companies like this out there, I think, that are ending up in this situation.
But AI is going to save us, right?
Right. I mean, if the AIs can police the reviews, that would be one thing. I don't think they're there yet, but that would at least be something.
And for certain things, I mean, the high volume things, the AI vision certainly could, examine the products and determine if it has a stain on it or if it's dented or warped,
Right.
That's being done in industry now, where, parts come down a line and they're inspected either using still images or video. And then a machine learning algorithm says, yes, good, no, send it back type thing.
Right. So, or even sets it aside for a human to inspect.
Yeah.
So they don't have to inspect every single thing. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Amazon is buying robotics companies.
Yeah.
Because they want to, they don't want to have to hire a bunch of people. I almost said buy a bunch of people.
Not far from the truth.
Yeah, right. So we go from that story to another one of a company that's too big to adequately police its systems. This is from bleepingcomputer.com. Facebook ads for Windows desktop themes push info stealing malware. So what this is bad actors are running Facebook ads or sponsored posts that advertise Windows themes, free game downloads, or software cracks. Folks, if it's too good to be true, if you're buying cracked software, pirated software, you're probably getting scammed because that's an unethical person. So don't do that. And so what they're doing is they're running these ads on Facebook, and nobody at Facebook is doing anything about it. And people are getting malware on their systems, and they report it, but nothing happens. And one of the ways they get around it is they have these Facebook pages that they artificially build up their engagement, or they steal them. That's the other way that they sometimes do, is they hack and steal Facebook pages. But then they steal them, and then they get them out there, and people are clicking on these ads because they think, hey, it's Facebook. They must have okayed this ad. It must be okay because it's on Facebook. Folks, don't believe everything you read.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just like Facebook is now just like any other internet, it's just like the web, basically. If you go to, Big Bob's illegal ROMs and torrent site, and there's big download links all over it, don't click them. Or if you download something and it says, I want to install browser toolbar, don't do it. Something, just don't do it. I mean, you don't need the Windows theme that badly.
The number of church secretaries' computers that I have fixed with 600 toolbars just gives me trauma.
Yeah.
This computer is so slow. One of the things that it doesn't come up in the article, but it's related to it, is this is the harm of clicking on things.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I think a lot of people have seen these. Why don't pictures like this go viral? And they're obviously really bad AI, Jesus or patriotic or whatever things. And, you're supposed to like it and share it. Or the older one is, hey, Bill Gates is giving away a free RV. Just click like and share on this post and you might win, and so on and so forth. And people say, you're like, don't click on that stuff. And then people are like, well, what can it hurt? It's just a like, it's just a share. This is what it hurts, because what these people are doing is by you liking and sharing, you're increasing engagement for that page. And later on, they're going to use that page to put out these posts, these sponsored posts with high engagement, to get them in front of thousands of people so that they can install malware on their computers. That's the harm. So don't do that.
And someone does eventually get a link to activate the deal that Bill Gates has given them on their RV, right? And it ends up asking for information. Someone does get that link.
Right.
And so, no, it hurts someone.
Right. You're also giving away your information and setting yourself up to be, sometimes clicking those links will set you up to have your profile to be cloned or hacked. If you you could even potentially give away your profile if you give too much information. Just, don't engage with that stuff.
The number of people I have seen who say my account's been hacked, and then I go back on their post and I see them do these survey posts in which they share them and they tell me what high school they went to, what their first car was, what their first date was, what their favorite teacher was.
That plus your
just
profile
gave
info.
everything away.
Yes. That's your security answers. So don't do that. Right. So, so those are our cautionary tales for headlines today. It's the danger of the big. That's that's today's lesson. The danger of the too big to fail, too big to succeed. All right. With that happy news, let's move on to our picks of the week. And Victor, why don't you share your picks of the week?
Yeah. So, I always like, investigating new EDC or everyday carry, gear. I saw a really cool video where some guy had taken an Altoids tin and packed it full of, tools and stuff to solve everyday problems, like a pocket knife, some super strong thread, a lighter, hot glue stick that you can use with the lighter to glue things together, duct tape, self-amalgamating silicone tape, which is not something I'd heard of, but is super cool. Check that out. It's really cool. It's a stretchy silicone tape, but it sticks to itself and basically amalgamates to itself. So you can wrap it around anything and it'll basically form like a watertight, airtight seal with itself. So, Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but that's not what I'm talking about. Because while extremely cool, I don't know if the tape would really count, but he had like this little charging cable that was like, USB-C to USB-A, but the charging cable itself was like $20, and it was only a couple inches long. And I was like, well, that's neat, but if I just got like a USB-C male to USB-C male adapter, so that's the part that plugs into your phone, and then got another adapter that had a USB-C female, so that's like a charging socket, and a USB-A male adapter, which is pretty universal. Those are like the USB ports that you used to find everywhere. I could put them together, and then for about 1.5 inches of just these two adapters clicked together, I would have something that in an emergency, I could charge my phone from, whether or not it was a USB-A or a USB-C type, charging socket or power bank or whatever I happen to have. So that went into the Altoids 10. It doesn't take up much room. And now if I ever need to charge my phone in an emergency, I don't have like a long bulky cable. I have this tiny adapter I can, plug in and rest my phone up on something while it charges. So
were you able to do like an ampage test or a voltage test on those to see?
No, I probably should. I'll have to see, because I didn't buy the absolute cheapest adapters, but you are losing something, obviously, when you go through these adapters. But this would be basically you're in a hospital or something and you're down to 2% battery, and some kind soul has a powered supply or something, but no cable. So that's something you can consider. If so, it works out if I made 4 of them and they were like under $5 each, just the way I had to buy the adapters and stuff. So,
and hand them out to your wife and kids, and that's the thing. The thing is, like, I've got an EDC, but I want my wife and my kids to be able to have a little emergency pack when they're out and about without me nearby to, magically pull just the right device out of my pocket, So very good. I like it. That's a great idea. Hopefully the next version of the iPhone 15, will have USB-C, and this sort of thing will work for me. Come on, Apple, move along. Father, what is your pick this week?
So my pick it kind of revolves around recent events in my own life right now. So my father passed away in May, so appreciate your prayers for him. But around that, my sister a few years back got him for Christmas a gift called Storyworth. And this is a service that would send him weekly prompts to write about his own life story. And so over the time of about 1.5 years, my dad, and it was during the time that his mind was probably the sharpest it had been in a while, he was getting weekly emails, and he'd sit down at the computer and type out his life story for us and all of that. And so it was really beautiful that just around the time of my dad's passing, all of us were able to sit down and read what my sister had been able to collect with all of that. And my dad wasn't really like an out loud storyteller himself, but is a really good writer. And so he was able to a lot of those stories, and got to learn a lot about my dad's faith that I hadn't quite heard, and a lot about his own conversion and things that I'd heard bits and pieces, but to see it all combined together. And so it's a $99 service, but goodness, that 99 was worth the world to us as a family.
Worth every penny. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad passed away a couple years ago, and my dad was a storyteller. He was like, whenever we'd get together and near the end of his life, we heard the same stories over and over.
Yeah.
But a few years ago, I got the idea, like, I should be recording these. And so whenever we'd have a get together, and my dad would start telling stories, I'd pull out my phone and turn on the voice memos just to record whatever he was saying. And I don't have nearly as many as I wish I did, but the ones I did get are priceless to me. And I shared them with my siblings because, you're right. Like once they're gone, that the opportunity is lost. Don't lose that opportunity while you still have it. I'm just telling you. And do it for your own family, for yourself. Just start thinking about leaving something for your kids, because your family, your brothers and sisters, even if you don't have kids, your nieces and nephews, they want to know you. They want to hold on to who you are. And that's going to be important.
Yeah. Just close it with a little bit of on the technology aspect. My dad's the one who put the pathway to technology for me. Was a system analyst for Mutual of Omaha for 40 years. Really created or was on a team that really created the work management systems. So productivity, databases, and all of that was kind of his wheelhouse. And so, just as we talk about technology, just to do honor for my dad of being one of the frontiers of technology in the early ages of it. So it's a beautiful thing.
That's awesome. I do want to close the loop on Storyworth. So just to be clear, what happens is once a week, you as the gifter choose a question to inspire them to write. They reply with an email that with what they write about it, and then at the end of a year, all of their stories are bound into a keepsake book, so that you have it all in print.
They also provide you with the PDF version of it, so you get that one bound print. You can go to like Lulu or something, and you own that PDF, and you can have more prints made. So they do give you the well formatted PDF. They allow you to go in after it is all done and work through these and edit it and format it and everything as well.
I wonder if there's an open source version of the questions, if someone has just collected a bunch of prompts to get you to write a similar thing.
Yeah, there's the prompts that they have kind of built in, and then you can add your own as well.
I'd like to get started doing it. I don't know if I need to do the Storyworth thing, but I kind of like to start keeping a journal for my kids, like do it now while most of my brain is still here.
I'm sure ChatGPT could tell you what they are.
There you go. That's actually an interesting idea.
Yeah, my dad was notorious for being a commenter on our local newspaper's website. So every time there was like a story, he would, leave a comment that could be sardonic, but was always witty and not, just that was kind of his way of expressing himself. So after he died, I quickly went on to the news website. And I think I, said show comments by this, particular commenter, and I just scrolled page by page, copy paste into a notebook. So that's what I was able to preserve from him. But definitely, I would have appreciated the recorded stories or the storybook here as well.
Yep. Thanks for reminding me of that. I need to do that with my dad's Facebook comments. He was kind of witty and humorous on some of his replies to these.
So for my pick this week, a little while ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we got our Nintendo Switch, and we discovered Mario Kart, and that meant we had to get more controllers because we had to have 4 people playing, and where do all these controllers go? I've got all these controllers now, and they were just all over my desk, because the TV is next to my desk in my office. And so I ended up getting this controller stand. It's a 3-tier, very simple controller stand. It's got angled hangers that you can put, an Xbox or Switch, PS4, any of the regular controllers. You put it on it. It even has a little bit of cable management. You can even hang, they show in the pictures, you can hang headphones on it if you want. And it's just a way to have up to 6 different controllers all together in one place. in minimal space. And I just, it's been useful. It's not the flashiest bit of tech, but it is very useful for us. If you've got game controllers everywhere and you can never find them all, this is a way to kind of wrangle them.
Yeah.
This picture shows it having, they have their game console there at the top of it, their Switch at the top.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'd be comfortable having my Switch. I mean, those are relatively narrow. And plus, my Switch lives in the dock where it's charging. Like, that's where I want it to be.
Yeah.
But I think it's just for the ad.
I could see it as a good display. Like, Victor probably relates with me on this. Having my old Game Boys is a good, like, display theme for those old consoles.
Yeah. And just for headphones, because I have, like, these headphones. I have, like, my work, headset that I use for calls and stuff, and they just pile up. So, and I do like the ad for it, too, because there's this picture that says Discovery, and then they have a phone. They've taken one of the holders off of the stand and just put it on their desk, and they have their phone just kind of resting on it like a phone stand. And it says, you can only put the hanger on the desk as a phone holder. Someone even said you can use as mug holder. So you could use this also to hold mugs. If you had 6 coffee mugs you wanted to display on it's versatile. Yeah. But
that's traumatic. I just got reminded of coffee cup trees.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Now, just, like a lot of things on Amazon, the one I will link to is only one of many. There are a dozen identical versions of this. Buy the least expensive one. There's no sense buying one that's more expensive than the least expensive one.
One thing Amazon does really well is powder coated steel products. They just come out of a factory in China and just is 2 pieces of steel you screw together, and they're powder coated with enamel or whatever. But
right, and this is a 3-tier one. They have 2-tier, 4-tier, so on and so forth. So but the general concept of this one is what I'm recommending. So definitely find one for you. There's a pink one. Oh, pretty.
Yeah.
All right. So that'll do it for me this time and for all of us. So we would love to get your feedback on anything we talked about today by commenting on the show at sqpn.com/technology or the StarQuest Facebook page, facebook.com/StarQuestMedia. Send an email to technology@sqpn.com. Visit the StarQuest Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord. You'll find links from our discussion and our picks of the week on our show notes at starquest.fm/264. Remember to like each episode of Secrets of Tech on Facebook, retweet them on X, where we're at SQPN, and leave us comments wherever you find it. Until next time, Victor Lambs, thank you for joining me and sharing the secrets of technology.
Thanks, Tom.
And Father Josephson, thank you as well.
Sure thing.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Technology on StarQuest.